Hello, my friends. This is Mina back with another video. And today I have been inspired to talk about something that has been on my mind a lot because I've been observing someone very close to me and her life and how family is treating her. And it has really made me reflect on what happens when family members are our biggest enemies on the femininity journey. Why this happens, how to cope with it, how to deal with it, and I want to start out with why and kind of split this into men and women, right? Female relatives and male relatives. And the backstory of this situation. So this person that I know, she's been married for years and been with her husband, years before that. And when she got married, she gave up entering a prestigious grad school program that she had been accepted into. And for the first part of their marriage, she was working 2 jobs, and later she moved to a state that she doesn't want to live in for her husband's higher education. And she was the sole provider for a hot second while he was in school and was working a job that she found extremely stressful, that she constantly wanted to quit, but she felt like she couldn't quit because she was the one bringing home the money. And he even encouraged her, you could say, pressure her / encourage her not to quit this job that was making her absolutely miserable, right? And now, finally, he's finished with his program. He is now the main breadwinner. And keep in mind, she still has been working, but she's been working part-time, a more chill job that's flexible. And now that she is in this lifestyle where she's able to actually have a little bit more leisure, relax a little bit more. Yes, she's still working, she's still making some money, but the main responsibility for the finances are not all on her shoulders. Something really interesting has happened. I feel like she has become almost an object of criticism, and certain people in her family see her as spoiled and entitled because she's now being taken care of financially. And keep in mind, she has been working still. So, but yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy to see that. Like, do people not see all of the sacrifices? Imagine giving up a program of study that means so much to you, moving somewhere for years that you don't want to live in that place, working jobs that are extremely stressful, where you are being mistreated and overworked because you have to, because you're supporting your husband. And when you finally catch a little bit of a break, then you are seen as this spoiled, rotten person. So why do the women, let's start with the women, in the family feel the need to criticize or discourage or tear down a woman who is trying to feel feminine and live a feminine lifestyle? I think some women have been so disappointed by life, whether they have made poor decisions or whether things have happened that are outside of their control. And they want to spare suffering in their female family members, right? They want to make sure that those women never even set the expectations or have the goal or the desire for something. They would rather pop their bubble first, proactively, instead of waiting for life to possibly pop it. Other women They're not in touch with their femininity at all. They are in the energy of proving themselves. And so if you, as a woman, are trying to feel feminine and live and just exist before you are trying to be really productive and accomplish all of these tasks and, prove your value to other people, that threatens their paradigm. It threatens their worldview. And if they don't respect their own femininity, how could they respect anybody else's? Maybe they have some sort of self-hatred as a woman or some sort of insecurity. But it seems like this group of women, if you are not out here acting in a masculine way and proving value in a masculine way, they can't see what you have to offer just by being a woman. That doesn't exist in their worldview. So by doing something different than what they're doing, it threatens their entire existence and makes them second guess themselves. So they would rather change you, alter you, so that they don't suddenly start to spiral and second guess their life and all of their decisions. And then with the men, male relatives have a vested interest in keeping you down, because if you are out here as a feminine woman and you're just living and thriving and you are in your receiving mode and you have a male partner who adores you and who's pouring into you and investing into you, or maybe you are not partnered at all, but life itself and your environment is feeding into you, that threatens them because it's normalizing a type of female existence that they don't want to provide for their wife or their girlfriend or whatever. Your existence itself is changing the market, let's say. I really don't like looking at the dating world or marriage world as a market, but just for the sake of the argument right now, your existence is showing women that something is possible beyond the paltry life that their partner is offering. They want to be stingy. They want to have the benefit of a woman in their life while also not giving her anything in return. And so they need you to accept the kind of treatment that they are getting their female partner to accept, to keep that status quo going. So it's quite crazy to think about the fact that as a feminine woman in our current society, our very existences are a threat to the current dysfunctional system. We don't have to do anything. We don't have to post any content, become some sort of social justice warrior, take up some sort of crusade for women. Just our lifestyle, just the fact that we're doing something different is a threat. So we have to be very, very, very careful. The first thing that I will say is do not try to justify yourself and explain yourself. If people did not see the sacrifices that you've made and the things that you offer without you telling them and trying to justify yourself, they're never going to see it because they don't want to see it. So keep out of that proving, explaining, justifying energy. The second thing that I will say is be very careful who you tell your desires to, your goals. Be very careful who you talk to about being a feminine woman. Something I've noticed is, I'm a very talkative person. I'm a very communicative person. And so earlier on in my journey, and still sometimes now, I fall into the the problem of saying too much. And here's the thing, your life itself will send a message to people. You don't have to try to be some sort of rhetorician or some sort of philosopher that is changing people's minds. That's not the job of the feminine woman. We inspire and we motivate. We don't convince and cajole and nag and try to get people to change into our point of view. We don't do that. It's not our responsibility, and it's also just not fun. So releasing some of that control, and if we see people doing certain things that are showing disrespect to women, that are showing a particular attitude, instead of trying to convince these people to change, we simply distance ourselves from that energy. So knowing when to distance yourself and knowing when to just not talk. This is kind of tying into the concept of moving in silence, which I might make another video about, because I came into this concept a couple years ago, started implementing it, and it has really changed my life in a lot of ways. We need to know how and when to move in silence, and we want to believe that our family members want what's best for us. That if we want something that's a good desire, that they're going to be on our team. But unfortunately, that's not the case. So we have to be just so very careful. We have to learn how to live unapologetically and not be concerned with excuse me, I'm a little bit sick. Not be concerned about what other people think. And it's natural to want your close friends and your family members to accept you and to approve of you and to be on your team. That's a natural desire. There's nothing wrong with that. But we have to know how to create a little bit of emotional distance when appropriate, when it's clear that people are just not supportive. It's so sad because I hear certain things that people will say about their female relatives that are very feminine and that are living this feminine lifestyle. And I think if you really loved a woman, wouldn't you want to do whatever you could that was within your power to make her life better? And if there was any suffering coming down the pipeline into her life that could be avoided, wouldn't you do whatever you could to prevent that from happening and to protect her from that suffering? That is my thought process, but I've realized a lot of people, especially people in certain religions that really push the idea of suffering as value, they don't think this way. They don't think about this at all. And it's astounding to see men who say that they love their partner or their wife, to see them just sit there while their girl is struggling and suffering. And not only that, but they want the woman to be in this position of proving energy. And to me, that there's nothing spiritually right about this. It's crazy that a lot of the religious men are the ones that do this. There's nothing spiritually upright about this. There's nothing moral about this, nothing ethical about this, but people package it up into this veneer of, look at you, you are this good, long-suffering, Christian or Muslim or Jewish or whatever the case may be wife. The suffering is seen as almost a feature and not a bug of being a good wife, rather than having a little bit of nuance here and being able to see, yes, if you are committed to somebody and things change and there's unavoidable suffering, yes, it is a virtue to be able to handle that suffering with grace. However, we should not be just sitting idly by while there is suffering that we can prevent happening in the lives of our loved ones. I don't understand why there's no nuance here, but unfortunately, that is the world that we live in. So I hope that some of these points kind of helped. We have to be careful out here. We have to protect our energy, especially if you are a single woman, because unfortunately, sometimes the very people that are supposed to protect you are the ones that are going to attack you for even wanting to be protected.